Bob, what's for breakfast? Coffee or tea, wait, let me see. I like my eggs sunny side up. Oh, brother Tim, hey, what's up? Hey, brother Bob, what's for breakfast? It's breakfast with Bob.
And Poncho Man! That's a new one. I haven't heard that one before. Welcome again to Breakfast with Bob from Kona at Huggo's on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by Master Spas. SFuels, right fuel, right time. HOKA, Fly Human Fly. Deboer, Wetsuits, Quintana, of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, 10 times here in Kona. That's a lot of time and a lot of
time, Bob.
Mr. Timothy O'Donnell. I want a round of applause for T.O.
Oh, it's so good to be back, Bob.
Pretty fun, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing. 10 times here, Poncho gives me a new song.
A
That's pretty
brand
good,
new
right?
song, exactly. And I'm looking at this, I'm going, you were 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th. You're missing the 7th. Come on now.
Yeah, and the 1.
And the 1.
Rennie's got plenty of those, though.
She's got it. You got 3 at home.
I tried to get her to give me one. She said no.
No, not at all. 2 times on the podium, 4 times top 5, 6 times top 10. Obviously, you know this course like the back of your hand. When people come to you and say, okay, give me some tips, what do you tell them?
Really, patience is the number one thing.
Yeah, it
Just
is.
be patient out there. And then after that, break the bike down into little chunks, right? Like, how do you eat a sandwich? It's one bite at a time.
Yep.
And a lot of people look at an Ironman and into totality, and it's too much to process. Especially when you're under stress
140.6
like
is
that.
too much, yeah.
Yeah.
So you break it down and go,
Right, yeah.
okay, get out to
Get
Waikoloa.
to the airport, get to Waikoloa, get to, the turnaround.
Right.
Scenic Point, whatever it is. Make it manageable and have that as part of your plan.
So when you came here in 2019, you were dealing, was it foot, was it ankle?
It was a foot, yeah. I broke my 5th metatarsal, like 7 weeks before the race.
And sometimes when crap like that happens, because you didn't even know if you could run when you came out on race day. You didn't know if you could run, how far you could run,
Yep.
if you're going to finish. It sort of changes your expectations from, you know what, let me get to that next mile. Let me get to the next. And then you get second.
With my fastest run ever here.
Right. After all
Doesn't make
the
any
other
sense.
years with all the prep
Yeah,
and all
the
stuff.
training, all
you're
the
like,
massive long runs.
what did I waste all my time on?
Yeah, like I could have
Just
trained
rested.
so differently, right?
Do you think that's what it was, the fact that you were fresh?
I do. I think, I had the chance to, when I broke my foot, I had the MRI done, and I had a night of a pity party, right? I had a bottle of wine. I said, all right, this is your pity party. No one's going to come because no one wants to be at a pity party. But, tomorrow morning when you wake up, we're going to get a plan. We're going to put a plan together, and we're going to play the hand we've been dealt. And that's what I did. I just focused on my riding and my swimming.
Yes.
And when I got off the bike for the first time in 9 tries, my legs felt great. When I literally that first step, I had a big smile on my face. The first step off the bike, I'm like, oh yeah,
Because
That's what I'm
that
talking
never
about.
happens.
Yep.
I mean, very few people say, oh, I feel great.
yeah. So it was just it was one of those special days, and my family, my parents, Bob, and they
Very well.
came out to I DNF'd my first Kona, and then after that race, I said I'll never drop out again.
Right.
Turns out in Miami, I probably should have dropped out, but they were back. They were back in 19 to finally. They hadn't come back since 11, so they were there to see that great race in 19, which made it even better.
That is like the coolest thing in the world. And as you were running, like in an energy lab, out of the energy lab, you'd never had a feeling like that before, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm out of the energy lab. I'm still hunting here.
Yeah.
What place were you off the bike?
Second.
So you
Kind
basically
of came off behind Jan and held that.
And you're thinking, those guys are going to be coming by.
Yeah. Well, Sebi was kind of holding the gap to me
Yes.
in third, and I'm getting feedback from my coach, Julie Dibbins, and she's like, Sebi's still coming. I'm like, Sebi, just leave me alone. But I was another good, 10K in, I was able to still keep pushing it in and revving it up. So that's, another thing I'm not used to doing. Usually I'm struggling on that last bit. Yeah.
You're suffering. So I was looking at 2021, 11th place, Challenge Miami.
Yep.
And we were there, and we were at the post party at Bill Christie's motorhome.
Yep.
And I still remember you leaning down in the golf cart like, I just don't feel right. And Bill's like, we need to get you out of here. I mean, he seemed to know before you did that something serious was going on.
Yeah. It was a crazy day for me. I suffered a widowmaker heart attack on that race course.
During the race itself?
During the bike. And that was my first race against Jan after he kicked my butt in Kona in 19. And that, when you get a race the best, you get excited because you get to test yourself against the best.
Right.
So I was just excited to be pushing myself as hard as I could. And I was in that little front group with him. And just started feeling the chest pain and the arm pain, and I knew something was off, but I thought if it was something serious, I wouldn't be able to keep pushing my bike.
Right.
So I said I'll back off a little bit and just keep going. And like I said in Kona in 2011, I told myself you can't drop out of races anymore, because once you let it creep in your head, if it's an option, it's gonna be easier to take it. So I had taken that option off the table, but in hindsight, I probably should have.
It was so
sought
hot
medical
out there.
attention.
Oh my God! So they got you to the hospital. They knew right away.
I called my doctor, and he told me, Tim, take 2 aspirin and get to the hospital.
Yeah.
And they actually had to transport me to another hospital because the one by the racetrack didn't have
the trauma
cardiology capabilities. Yeah.
And for somebody who just finished 11th in a race, to have a heart issue during that race, it's not like you're not fit. It's not like I think we were just interviewing Dave McGilvery, and he talked about there's a huge difference between being fit and being healthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, fitness isn't health, right?
It isn't.
And I learned that day. We go through so much. We're able to punish ourselves so much, but that doesn't mean that we're impervious or invincible, right? It can happen to anybody.
So what did they think caused it? Was it congenital? Was it?
It was definitely genetics.
Okay.
One of the sports cardiologists I saw at Mass General said, there is, particularly in the LED, where I had a soft plaque rupture.
Right.
And particularly in the LED, they see a lot of buildup of soft plaque in endurance athletes. So there isn't a direct link, but they do suspect that there could be some causation.
So when something like that happens, getting back to training again, and then you're obviously super sensitive to anything, any type of, oh my God, what is that? How hard was that to get back to the level of training that you were doing before?
The challenge wasn't so much physical as it was mental.
Oh yeah.
And just always questioning yourself, you second guessing, saying, do I need to be doing this? Should I be doing this? And knowing Rennie's in my family is worried as well.
And you got kids.
Yeah,
you're a dad. You got bigger responsibilities.
Yeah. They say, time heals all wounds, and I don't think that's true. But time does give you the ability to change your mindset, and that's what I had to do. I had to shift my mindset and how I approach things, and that helped me move forward. You see, at the end of the day, we got to move forward in life, Bob. Right?
Always.
We can't live scared, live afraid.
No.
We have to be our best versions of ourselves.
Did you have to change diet? Did you have to change? Did you have to change anything?
Surprisingly, I thought I was going to have to go vegan and all this stuff. And actually, I was just chatting with a cardiologist yesterday. We did a little course ride, and he's like, yeah, steak's great, So no one told me to change my diet. Really, it's just awareness.
Yes.
For me.
Just being aware if your heart rate, and so if your heart rate is spiking or something like that.
And supplementation for heart health and strength of your artery walls, right?
Have you found that you've been speaking? A lot of people are reaching out online and saying, "Listen, I've got this issue." You become that guy that people are you're the go-to guy for.
Absolutely.
You got heart issues.
Yep.
They're find TO.
Yep. I get emails every week.
Yes.
I actually chatted with somebody over the lobby of the King Cam yesterday, and he's like, he thanked me for being so open about it, because it makes it okay for everybody to talk about it a little bit more. It is the #1 killer of men and women in the U.S.
Yes.
So it's okay to talk about it and show some vulnerability.
Yes.
Because it does help put it on other people's radars.
So coming back, that was in 2020. Actually, 2021.
Yep.
And then coming back that following year and getting 13th here, I'm sure the expectations I'm guessing the expectations aren't, I'm going to come here to win, I'm going to come here to podium. It's like, I'm going to come here to show that I'm okay.
Yeah, for me, obviously, you always want to show up to compete.
Of course.
And I really did feel like I did that. I had a great ride, and it came off maybe in around 6th with, Sebi and some of those other guys. And I was just, it hit me coming down onto Alihi really early. I'm like, this is amazing that I'm back out here.
Absolutely.
And I did, obviously I wanted to get it 7th, another top 10.
That was the only one you're missing. Yeah.
But, I got out there on the run, and I wasn't as fit as I needed to be. And it'd be disrespectful to think, my training was definitely not perfect leading into that. It was a real challenge to get back there.
Right.
And it would be disrespectful to think I'd just go and beat a lot of those other guys. But when I was out there, I really realized this isn't about necessarily performance right now. This is a journey, right? Like this race has really been so important to me.
Yes.
And in Rennie and our family.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it was just being able to come back here, honor my career, honor everything I've been through, honor the people that supported me, and honestly, that running down that finish chute was more amazing than the podium, running down on podium performances, because people were just glad to see me out there. Not maybe the American that can win, not Tim, the guy we want to see do well. It's just like, no, Tim's here, and that's awesome.
That's really what it is. I mean, because realistically, you could have been out training that day and collapsed,
Yep.
and no one would have found you, and for a while, right? That's the fact that you were at a race.
Yep.
The fact that you were, they have a hospital at Daytona.
Yep.
That to a certain degree, you were very lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And training is good, right? It saved my life, because you develop these little vessels that kind of come off your main arteries, and that help divert blood around the blockage.
Right.
So yeah, even like getting back into racing, the doctor said you need to still.
This
need
is
to be
who
active.
you are.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this helps save your life. So yeah, be fit. Fitness is going to help you.
So your journey here, when you in 2011 you DNF'd, and the following year you got 8th, and then you get 5th. So it's like, okay, I got the formula here. Now I got to get to the podium, and then it becomes 32nd, all right? And then the following year you do get the podium. You get 3rd. Take me through just that journey where it's like, okay, I DNF'd. What do I got to do to not just finish, but to be up there?
Yeah, it came to a point where I had always gotten dropped going up to Hubby.
Yeah.
And in 14, I was in amazing shape. I was training with Mark Allen, and I actually pulled an oblique, like getting out of the saddle, like on the climb.
During the race?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And, I couldn't run. I couldn't stand up straight.
Right.
It's an erector muscle, right?
But you weren't going to drop out.
No, but and I knew Rennie was coming for me, and
that's
so
all
I
you
tried.
need.
She passed me because I was walking out of town that year.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, no, like I said in 11, I'm going to finish this race, because it doesn't matter if I'm going to win or not or get on the podium. It's like, no, you came out here to do something, and you're going to do it.
Right.
And I tried to get out of the NBC shot, but they
they
running by
wanted
me.
that shot.
Yeah, they're waiting for it.
That is a cool. I remember when Paula passed Huddle. That was like, bragging rights. She gets bragging rights forever. And so then we're talking. So that was 14, and that's the greatest race. Rennie comes from 13 minutes down, 14 minutes
plus,
down to win the race, and you'd come off a 50 year before and get 32nd. How do you balance that? She just had the greatest performance of her life. Hey, I'm so excited. Oh, sorry, honey. That's always the toughest, when one is doing well and one isn't. It's great when everybody's succeeding.
And my best performances were Rennie's worst performances here.
Really?
Yeah, with the exception of 2013. I had a great race. And she
won. That was perfect.
That was a special moment.
She wins. You get 5th. Everybody wins.
But it took me a while. When you literally living with one of the greatest ever, it's hard to not look at what they're doing.
Right.
And same thing, I had the honor of training with Craig Alexander in Boulder as well. And I had the other greatest ever, the two best at the time, right?
So you weren't even the best in the condo complex.
But I'm always looking at what they're doing, and it took me till 2015 where, like, you know what? No, like, this is my day. Like, I'm going to do what I need to do. I stopped flying in when Rennie flew in. I flew in by myself. I'm like, I'm staying down here. Like,
oh, so you guys stayed separate?
Well, no. She's like, all right, I'll go with you down there.
Oh, okay.
To where Mark always stays. So it took me a little while to find out, like, who I was, and just be confident and comfortable with knowing what I needed to do, and not just trying to replicate what Rennie or Crowe did.
Yeah. So, but being on the podium here twice, there's a lot of people who can't say that, right? Being on the podium, getting 2nd and 3rd. Obviously, you want to win, but 2nd was a huge victory in 19 because of what you're dealing with, the fact you hadn't run at all. Yep. And getting that 3rd in 2015 when Rennie wins, I mean, those podiums were pretty special.
Oh, they're amazing. My whole goal was to win this race, and obviously didn't do that, and I ran out of chances. But at the same time, I'm really proud with the way I prepared,
yes,
and the way I put myself out there. And honestly, I probably had no business even being on the podium. I was the worst athlete in my family of 4, right? Like, my family's still scratching their head. How do you do this? So, I'm proud of the journey I had. And what it made it even better was being able to share my journey with Rinny and her share her journey with me. Right. Because even in 14, when I was, walking and coming 32nd or whatever it was I could still really celebrate Rinny. And,
right.
I think that's important to have that balance of life and love and your personal passions and pursuits.
One of the things, and you got to live it from the inside, when Chrissy wins a thing 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, 7, 8, 9. Then in 2010, she doesn't start the race, right? Yeah. And, okay, now it's your turn, Rinny. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And she ends up winning a race. And then 11 is the match. That's Rinny, the defending champion, against Chrissy, the 3-time champion. And the women's race totally overshadowed the guys because it was about those two. And you were on the inside getting to see how Rinny was dealing with all that. I'm guessing that second place bothered her for a long time.
She fought hard, and going back to 2010, I remember when they told her, we were at the pool at the hotel at the day camp. And they told her Chrissy wasn't starting, and she kind of her face just dropped. Like her whole
I'm here to beat Chrissy. How do I do it?
And she's like, oh wow, I'm gonna have to rethink everything now. But she was able to obviously just do her thing and have an amazing day.
Yes.
But in 11, she fought hard, and I think, she pushed Chrissy to a new limit, new course record, right? Chrissy's fastest run on the island. So
yes.
Rinny loves getting the best version of herself out there, and I think she did that on the day. So, she loves to win, obviously, but she knows that was a great performance too.
But also the fact that Chrissy didn't come back and give her a chance, that pissed her off.
Yes.
Because when Chrissy retires, the motivation is how do I? This is the reason I'm in the sport is to win.
Right.
She's the gold standard. I got to beat her, and she's gone.
Yeah. Well, it didn't take long for someone else to come and through Daniela, right? So there's
yes. Well, those Leanda comes and wins it. Yeah, and then here comes this Daniela and running her down that first year. But I'm sure Rinny knew, this woman's coming.
Right. Yep. Yeah. You can't. 14+ minute deficits aren't something you want to do every year, right?
No. So T.O., when you see this new generation coming in, and we've been interviewing a bunch of these guys, and you look at their splits from other races, and it's 46, and it's 403, and it's 237, and you're like, and they're 23, 24 years old. Yep. You got out at the right time, my friend. I mean, the
writing was on the wall.
Oh, these guys are flying at a young age because you went through the whole ITU thing and when did you do? How old were you first Ironman?
Geez, 30 or 31.
Yeah, and that's same with Jan.
Yep.
And these guys are coming in at 22, 23 with no fear and strong.
And they're not just coming in at 22 or 23. They've been doing it for 8 years, right? They've been legitimately training as long course triathletes since they were 14.
They didn't even go down the ITU thing.
So they have.
I want to do this. I want to be here.
Yeah, they have the time in their legs. They have age on their side, right? Recovery. If you want to recover well, you just need your birthday to start with 20, right? It's 2000. You got to be in your 20s, So it's amazing to watch. And I remember talking to Mark Allen before the race in 2022 and said, top 10 is going to go under 8 hours, Mark.
Yes.
And he's like, no way. I'm like, just watch.
Yeah.
Sure enough, yeah.
And I think this year, we're going to see numerous folks under 4 for the bike. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some 232s through 33s and course record could go down.
Yeah, and I do look back at my generation guys like Freddie, Sebi, Ben Hoffman, Andy Potts. I think we missed an opportunity to raise the level of the sport, and I think this next generation is really doing that with technology and just tinkering with stuff, right? And really putting science into it.
Did you ever get in a wind tunnel?
I did, yeah, but it was never stressed like it is
right now.
Really stressed right now.
And 3D aero bars and all that type of stuff. And how do we get free speed? Nobody had that emphasis back then.
Now, a couple guys like Chris Lieto, I feel like was ahead of the curve. Sebi was ahead of the curve a little bit. But I think I just wish. A regret is that our generation we were still very old school, eating is cheating, and now these guys are 180 grams of carbs an hour. What?
Well, and also there was a feeling you've got to be skinnier. You got to be skinnier.
Yes,
and then, Jan comes in and you got to be shorter. And then all of a sudden these guys are all 6'3", 6'4", and this is a big boy sport. This is big boy power, and we can still run. It's crazy.
It's amazing,
Different era, but wonderful.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
You want to see everything progress, right?
Always.
And we just saw it just blow up in 2022.
So I'm so glad you're healthy.
Thank you, Bob.
It's great to have you back here on the Big Island, and we'll have fun toasting all these guys on Saturday and not be out there schwitzing with them.
We don't have to wait till then, right?
No, we can do that now. Exactly. We got the party tomorrow night. We'll be there.
Perfect.
Timothy O'Donnell, everybody. Poncho Man, take us out.
What's for breakfast? Coffee or tea, maybe me. What? I like my eggs sunny side up. Oh, brother Jeff. Oh, what's up? Hey, brother Bob, what's for breakfast? It's breakfast with Bob.
And Poncho Man, everybody.